That concludes the ceremony at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where C.P. Radhakrishnan is sworn in as the 15th Vice President of India. He is the 7th from the south of India and now holds the second highest constitutional office in the country after President Murmu. The ceremony saw, in fact, all bigwigs from the NDA camp led by the Prime Minister. All CCS leaders were there in full strength. However, what was missing was several leaders from the opposition ranks. Let's get in. Himanshu Shekhar Mishra has been tracking this very closely for us, joining us from Vijay Chowk for more on this. Himanshu, one was expecting that any effort to be able to build consensus, to move forward, to avoid confrontation, starts with the opposition ranks also participating in this ceremony. However, most opposition leaders were missing from this.
I think that is the challenge that C.P. Radhakrishnan will now face as he takes charge as India's new Vice President. I just wish to use a small quote that Prime Minister Modi had in fact posted once C.P. Radhakrishnan was elected, and he had said, "I am confident that he will strengthen constitutional values and enhance parliamentary discourse." And I think that will be the top priority of India's new Vice President as he charts out as a new Vice President. Remember, he needs a new political outreach because the context in which he takes over as India's new Vice President has to be understood. Jagdeep Dhankar, in fact, left unceremoniously, though he had said that he is leaving and resigning on health grounds. But we do know that his relations with the Treasury benches, with the government, had actually become very bad, and that formed the context in which he had to move out. We also know that last year in the winter session of Parliament, the opposition parties, in fact, had moved a no-confidence motion against Jagdeep Dhankar. That was an unprecedented incident, and it showed that the kind of consensus that we've been talking about for last almost an hour had completely collapsed in Parliament, and opposition decided to move a no-confidence motion. And then just ahead of the monsoon session, it seemed that the new Vice President had lost the trust of the Treasury benches of government as well. And that is the context in which C.P. Radhakrishnan now will take charge as the new Vice President of India. I was just looking at the dates. Remember, the next winter session of Parliament is usually called in the last week of November or first week of December. That essentially means that the new Vice President has around 2.5 months to have a new political outreach, especially to the opposition camp. He has to rebuild that consensus, that balance that is needed.
That's an important point you're making, and I want to quickly now get a reaction and perspective from Rashid Kidwai as well, who's joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Kidwai, your first reaction to the fact that most opposition leaders were missing from this, and how do you read that the effort that will be from the Vice President's side to be able to build consensus or at least reach out and have that political outreach effort?
First of all, I think it is little unfortunate on the part of opposition. They should have gone in full strength and given the new Vice President a chance to sort of, reconcile and bring all that acrimonious past behind. But that's not how our politics is played out. There was a narrative was set, and the vice presidential candidate that Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan was shown in a certain light, and the opposition, to my understanding, will continue in that path of confrontation and polarization within and outside Parliament, and that is where I think C.P. Radhakrishnan's task becomes far more daunting. But I think he must, as a student of Indian politics, I think he must give a very sincere try, because he should live up to the reputation of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, who was a very illustrious Vice President. Actually, the problem is that the office of Vice President has also been degraded or brought at a political level. It is supposed to be above party lines. And I have covered Parliament and Rajya Sabha for years and years. No presiding officer, that being Vice President of India, would sit through when there was a lot of political acrimonious discussions. So they would come at 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock during the question hour, and 12 o'clock they will just leave the other political entities. As we know, whether there is a deputy chairperson, and there is a panel to preside over the kind of functioning of Rajya Sabha. But I think from 1990s this trend started that vice president assumed a very pronounced political instance, and that is problematic. So therefore, to blame the opposition entirely, it will not be accurate or fair.
So there is the history of the vice presidential candidates you are saying in the past. It leads to legislative logjam on one end, but this is also an opportunity. Is Amitabh Tiwari with us? All right. Okay. So Amitabh, this is also an opportunity for a fresh start. You have the new vice president, the 15th vice president being sworn in. The NDA is there in full strength. Of course, the numbers back them up. They did a better show than what they were expecting. But having said that, this also gave the opposition ranks a chance to be seen and participate in the entire democratic process, which is the hallmark of Indian constitution, the Indian democracy. Their absence, their glaring absence, sends a very wrong message.
Yeah, of course, and it sends a wrong message, and it is a starting Mr. Radhakrishnan's tenure on a very wrong note, you can say, because what we have seen is that there is a complete trust deficit between the treasury benches and the opposition, both in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Mr. Radhakrishnan, having years of experience as a governor, as an MP, etc., and having a clean image, non-controversial image, is expected to smoothen the working of the Rajya Sabha as well as the relationship with the opposition. I think both parties now need to sit down together and see how the proceedings of the House can go on smoothly, because we've seen many disruptions in the past year as well as in the past session, and that is not benefiting our democracy. What is happening is that bills are being passed with very little discussion. The House is being adjourned almost on a daily basis, we've seen in the last monsoon session, and that is costing a lot of money to the Indian taxpayer or the exchequer. So I think unless both the opposition and the treasury benches forget the past and make a way forward, and in this matter, Mr. Radhakrishnan himself will have to play a very big role, make a big outreach to the opposition and try to bring everybody on the table, because otherwise things will only get worse from here, and that's not beneficial for us.